Guys, Brian Finish today. It's gonna be a video about Vascularity the Truth. I'm redoing some of my videos in the past because it's bad audio. I'm really sorry for the bad audio videos. I know it's hard to understand what I'm saying, so that's why I'm doing better audio right now in my videos. And that's why I'm redoing the videos. So look forward to a new series of videos that, like from the beginning of my YouTube account. Think about like supplementations, vascularity, the squat. We're redoing all those videos, cutting, bulking. We're redoing all those videos that I first started to upload, that I first started to get down when I did my YouTube account for you guys, when I first started up. It was a long time ago. It was about September, it was January 1st, so exactly 1 year from now, my YouTube account just got started up. Didn't have any videos, but got started up, and then it was Ideal Brian Fitness, and then it became Brian Stucker Fitness, because I just didn't like Brian Fitness, so I had Brian Stucker Fitness. And two, about that, people who've been with me for a long time, people that have been with me for a long time, they know that I just recently changed my name to Brian Fitness, to Brian Stucker Fitness. I didn't like people calling me Brian Fitness. It's kind of awkward, so I changed it to Brian Stucker Fitness, and that's what all happened. So as we dial back, we talk about vascularity. It's major to have good nourishment, to have good nutrition, and a balance of macronutrients, macrominerals, vitamins. Make sure they're getting down to the esophagus, to the gastrointestinal tract, and not being clogged, and not being halfly digested when they don't get fully digested. And the thing that happens is because there's a blockage of foods that are high in lipids, saturated fats, polyunsaturated fats, and dense and rich in protein, carbohydrate. It creates a blockage, a dense blockage, where the micronutrients, macronutrients, macrominerals, and vitamins they cannot get through. When they cannot get through there, catabolism cannot happen, anabolism cannot happen, biosynthesis cannot happen. So the simple and complex functions and processes of the body cannot happen. It's really bad. It's a fucking bike down here. But we want there to be no complications, so we don't have to get fully digested. We don't want any digestion problems, because then when it's blocked, when there's a blockage and it's too dense, so the food, the macronutrients, macrominerals, vitamins cannot get through, you have to rely on soluble fiber and probiotics to get the dense food out of there, so it can be fully digested and get down to the catabolic breakdown, where the food can be broken down, processed, synthesized, whatever you prefer to call it, and then releases energy after it's broken down and processed. When it releases energy, the thing that happens in catabolism is anabolism. It requires the energy that's already broken down, and it's major to have nutrition, major to have the bargain foods, the nutrient dense foods, because you're not getting nearly enough energy from just empty calories with no nutritional value at all. And especially if you have a low metabolism and you try to carbohydrate load, increasing your carbohydrate intake while decreasing exercise, you realize that you're carbohydrate sensitive, anti-calorie sensitive. So when we really start to talk about that, is that you can't burn off the empty calories and the carbohydrates. That leads you to gaining fat, instead of utilizing the food, the carbohydrates, and empty calories as energy, because you have low metabolism that's not as efficient, strong, and faster. But you don't want to start. So the thing that you want to happen are these, the metabolism's functions to happen, and not even just that. When we talk about vascularity, it leads into the whole subject about the heart, the blood vessels, making sure that they're supplying and delivering oxygen to the body cells and muscle tissue, make sure there's no complications in there, so they do not deteriorate. And if there's a blockage created by fat, created by overall body composition, it prevents the muscle from showing. It prevents the muscle from toning, and it prevents vascularity from happening, because you have all this fat and the muscles covered, and the blood vessels they're not being supplied and delivered to the body cells and muscle tissue. So what really starts to happen is they start to deteriorate, and more fat even packs on against the other loads of fat. So that is not good. But what we want to do is make sure that catabolism, anabolism is happening. Make sure that your basal metabolic rate. And this is the thing, is that I say this all the time on my channel. You want to reset your metabolism, so you have the correct amount of energy, and you have the correct amount of nourishment. Reset your metabolism, get into a caloric deficit. Intermediate fasting, basically adjusting, changing which times you eat, so you have less calories. So when you add it up, it's less calories getting into a caloric deficit to burn the fat and shed the fat, so you can have things like vascular. You can have muscle tone. You can have visible muscles. You can get into a hypertonic state instead of a hypotonic state, which is muscle tone lower than normal. But it dates back to catabolism, anabolism, breaking down the food, processing of the food, synthesis of the food that releases energy, and then anabolism. It, of course, requires the energy, and it requires the energy for your basal metabolic rate to make metabolites. When we don't have enough metabolites being made, little to no metabolites being made, we don't have nearly enough energy. We don't have the nutrition, the nourishment that makes your basal metabolic rate develop and gradually grow. After you get down to a caloric deficit, is when you don't have many calories, you burn the fat, and then you gradually increase your basal metabolic rate with the energy and the nourishment that it needs to make metabolites. So the metabolites aren't stunted, and so it can make many metabolites. Basically, you're gradually increasing your caloric intake to a hypercaloric intake where you can digest many calories, you can get the energy, not just that, you can digest many calories and burn it off. So the things that so before you're low metabolism and you are sensitive to carbohydrates and empty calories. Well, the thing about this is that you can now burn off carbohydrates, burn off broken foods, you can burn off nutrients. So your body, catabolism, anabolism can happen when the food's broken down and it releases energy and it requires energy. So the thing that's going to be happening now, and you can basically eat a lot of food along with broken foods with nutritional value. You can basically grow your metabolism by increasing your caloric intake as long as you have nutritional value. That's the correct way to gradually increase your basal metabolic rate and make sure that you have the energy and it's not stalled. It's not stalling the gastrointestinal tract. When it's stalling the gastrointestinal tract, catabolism, anabolism cannot happen. With catabolism, anabolism cannot happen. Biosynthesis cannot happen, and metabolites are stunted. Usually, you have low metabolism that is sensitive to carbohydrates and empty calories, and it's going to gain in fat. So that is not good visceral fat. Overall body composition, the amount of fat that your body stores, and usually you store it as fat and not as energy. The carbohydrates, empty calories. The food is energy. You would store it at fat. So that's why I stress it in my videos to get down to a caloric deficit where you can burn the fat. You can gradually increase your metabolism with energy and the nourishment that it needs. So anabolism and catabolism is happening, and when the metabolism's functions are happening, when the processes are happening in the body, it's really good, especially for release energy. So your basal metabolic rate requires the energy to make metabolites, the offspring of metabolism. When more metabolites are being made, we usually have more energy, we have more nourishment. And when more metabolites are being made, we usually have a high metabolism. They can intake a lot of food. They can take a lot of broken food, nutritional value, and can basically burn that off. Can burn calories from fat, can burn carbohydrates off, can burn the broken foods off, and utilize that as energy. So the food it gets broken down, energy is released, and anabolism requires energy for your basal metabolic rate to make metabolites. Metabolites are not stuck. Metabolites are not stalled from being made, because if metabolites are stalled from being made, it's really bad, because metabolites are major to in the growth, reproduction, and development of muscle fiber simple complex, small to large. Go from a lower capacity growth to a higher capacity growth. So this really prevents biosynthesis from happening, further reproduction, development, and growth of muscle fiber. So it says that simple, it says that small. Muscle fiber never has a complex structure and never recruits muscle fiber type 2 with more of a capacity to grow. So it says that a lower capacity to grow, and this is not good. So overall, in your body, is that you want more metabolites to be made. You want that energy, that nourishment that your body needs, the energy that it takes and nourishment that it takes to make the metabolites so they can aid in the growth, reproduction, and a lot of metabolites can be made. You get down to the caloric deficit where you have less calories being digested, and then you have less calories digested. When you're in a hypotonic state, you can burn off the fat and you gradually increase your metabolism with bargain foods high in nutritional value. You can have the energy that it takes to make the metabolites. You can have the nourishment that it takes to keep growing your metabolism so that you can intake a lot of bargain foods and burn it off, utilize it as energy, release energy, require energy, and keep building upon your basal metabolic rate so it does not get stunted. Metabolic formation, metabolic creation does not get stunted, so muscle fibers can go from simple to complex, small to large, and they can have more of a complex structure, and this aids in more of a capacity to grow than less of a capacity to grow. They go from less of a capacity to grow to a higher capacity to grow, which the stall, it just stays at small, stays at simple muscle fibers. That just recruits muscle fiber type 1 and has less capacity to muscular gain, muscular hypertrophy, and muscle toning. So as you get down about that, it's major for muscle fibers to go from simple to complex to correctly reproduce, develop, to grow, and for your blood vessels, your basal metabolic rate requires the energy from the food to make metabolites, to make many metabolites. Again, you're probably gonna have a high metabolism. They can basically burn off calories and fat. They can burn off the raw foods and utilize it as energy and keep growing your metabolism. It can utilize the nourishment that you give it, and it can keep making more metabolites and keep making more metabolites to the point where you're gradually increasing your caloric intake, and you get into a hypercaloric state where you can burn off the calories, you can digest a lot of calories, and your metabolism can keep growing, it can keep developing without being stalled. It's major that it does not get stalled. It's major that it keeps growing and keeps developing, that biosynthesis, anabolism, catabolism happens in the body. It's major functions and processes of the metabolism. As we know about it, all these anabolism, catabolism, functions and processes of the metabolism, make sure that these are going on in the body. It's major for the metabolism. Again, if you want to grow your metabolism, if you want to develop your metabolism, it's major for that catabolism, anabolism is happening. Energy is released. Energy is required by your basal metabolic rate to make metabolites, so it can make usually less metabolites with no energy at all. You don't have many metabolites being made, and you don't have nearly enough good nourishment. And again, you want to fix that. You want to have the energy. You want to have the nourishment, energy that it takes to make many metabolites, and you want to get down to a caloric deficit where you can burn the fat, you can start building muscle, you can start getting muscle tone, and you can start getting vascularity. You can have the blood vessels supplying and delivering oxygen to the body cells and muscle tissue, so blood circulation is possible. So no blood circulation is not a definite. That's the main thing I want to get across. Vascularity, the truth, in this video, and that's it. I'm going to talk about it for like 20 minutes probably. Vascularity and the truth, but major, want to have energy, nourishment, want to be working out, you want to have a higher basal metabolic rate to have more vascularity. You want to burn the fat, build the body composition, get down to a caloric deficit, whether it's through intermediate fasting, cutting by consuming less calories, getting down to a caloric deficit, where you burn the fat, or intermediate fasting. You basically change, adjust the time you eat, and you eat sometime, but you usually skip one meal, you skip breakfast, or you skip lunch, or you skip dinner, so you have less calories and get down to a caloric deficit to basically burn the fat, and you gradually increase your metabolism, so you can have a low one that's sensitive to carbohydrates and sensitive to empty calories. So one that has a hypercaloric intake, digesting many calories, so you can get to a high basal metabolic rate. You're gradually increasing your basal metabolic rate, so it has more energy, has the nourishment that it needs to fully develop and fully grow, to make sure that metabolites are made, that the energy is released, the energy is broken down, to make sure that many metabolites are being made, so you can get down to a hypercaloric state where you digest many calories. You can burn the calories off, utilize it as energy, and make sure that you're growing and developing your basal metabolic rate even further, making sure that muscle fibers, some for complex, small to large, is that biosynthesis happens, more of a complex structure. So muscle fiber type 2 is recruited, muscle fiber type 2 is created, it creates more muscle fiber type 2 with more of a capacity to grow and more muscular hypertrophy, muscular gain. So that's the main thing, and more muscle tone. Vascularity is definitely a definite to make sure that your basal metabolic rate does not get stunted. High metabolites that are being made get stunted. And the thing about that, the thing about overweight people, the thing with fat people, is it's not nearly something funny. But they have low metabolism, not as efficient, not as strong, not as fast as a person with a high metabolism. They can carbohydrate load. They can eat all the empty calories they want. They cannot avoid the diseases that they can be getting. You can never avoid the diseases. You can save your basal metabolic rate, stunt your body mass index, your height and weight. You can stunt all of that. Muscular gain, muscle tone, vascularity. You can stunt that. So it can you cannot get it growing and developing to get to a better state than just a state that's stunted and not doing anything for you. I want to make sure, so I got here today, and I want to make sure that I got a video across to you guys. I know I love you guys. Thank you for the support so far. It's been an amazing journey on this process, you know, and I'll never stop, you know. That's why I'm doing it. I make sure that I'm getting subjects across to you guys. I'm thinking of things, you know, make sure that I'm not just thinking of things. Vascular, yeah, you want to get the fat down, body composition down, you get into a caloric deficit. You want to build upon your metabolism so you can go from a hypocaloric state with less calories and gradually increase your metabolism so it has the energy, it has the nourishment that needs, and anabolism, catabolism is happening, so more metabolites are being made, and you get into a high basal metabolic rate. You can intake many calories and utilize the food, the bargain foods, nutrients as energy. Energy can be released, and energy can be required to make more metabolites. Even after that, muscle fibers, simple for complex, small to large. Muscle fibers can happen, biosynthesis can happen. It's something major in the body that needs to happen. Also, blood vessels are requiring the energy to supply and deliver oxygen to the body's cells and muscle tissue. So we have less fat, we have more muscle, and we have more visible skin. We have more vascularity without all the fat that's covering muscle. We have this good blood circulation. We have more vascularity. You see people that have good amount of vascularity, like let's see, I was usually when I'm done working out, you can start seeing my veins popping over. One day in school, I was like, oh hey, but you can definitely get vascularity stunted up to a point where you cannot get any more vascular veins. Vascular veins are just stuck, and you cannot expand the veins that are visible in the blood vessels supplying and delivering oxygen to the body cells and muscle tissue. Make sure that vascularity is a definite. The states of vascularity, the tips to vascularity, I'm giving you guys in this video. I want to make sure that you guys get all this information, that I'm covering this as correctly. So we want to make sure, of course, that we have the nutrients. We want to make sure that we have macronutrients, micronutrients, macrominerals, vitamins that get down to the esophagus, the gastrointestinal tract. They're not stalled. There's not a blockage created by dense foods like saturated fats, polyunsaturated fats, lipids, foods high in bad cholesterol, LDL, a blood plasma lipid protein that's high in cholesterol. It carries cholesterol to the body cells and muscle tissue and basically deteriorates the body cells and muscle tissue so that it's not good at any point in there, and it gets down to the gastrointestinal tract. Usually you have insoluble fiber, soluble fiber, probiotics to get the dense food out of there, so the macronutrients, micronutrients, macrominerals, and vitamins can be digested fully. They can have good digestion. It can get down to the catabolic breakdowns. Food can be released. Food can be broken down. Energy can be released. Energy can be required by a basal metabolic rate to make metabolites, and making more metabolites than usual, and to make sure that you have more energy, and to make sure that you're resetting your metabolism so you can have a metabolism, a low metabolism to a high metabolism you can have. It's a definite, I promise you guys, it's a definite. You can have a high metabolism if you just gradually increase your metabolism, your caloric intake, to make sure that it's growing and developing correctly, and to make sure that you're not stunting it too much. You're like, oh, I wish I had a high metabolism, that burns off the carbohydrates and the empty calories so I don't gain in fat like all these other skinny people that have amazing ass genetics. And God, those people like, oh, I wish I had veins that popped out. But usually you have no muscle tone, you have no muscular growth because you have no muscle fiber or recruitment, muscle fiber type 2 recruitment. You have no reproduction developing and growth of muscle fibers with the complex stays simple. Usually you have less muscular gain, and you're left with vascularity, but you have less muscle tone, less muscle growth, and less muscular hypertrophy, which is muscle gain. 18 minutes. We got into the video. So vascularity, again, make sure you have nourishment. You want to make sure that you have the correct amount of energy, and because you think that you have a high metabolism, you don't. You can't force your metabolism to grow. It does not happen. You have to, the process and the functions and process of the body has to happen so you can grow your metabolism. You can have the energy, release the energy. You can require the energy to make more metabolites than usual. It can basically go from low metabolites being made to a lot of metabolites being made. Hypercaloric state, you're taking many calories and burning that off, utilizing it as energy to basically grow your metabolism, develop your metabolism even more. It's something major that I want to get out and talk to you guys about. It's something that I covered in my first couple of videos on Brian Psycho Fitness. But more nourishment, more nutrition, more energy, increasing your basal metabolic rate to make sure that catabolism, anabolism, biosynthesis is happening. The functions and processes of the metabolism is happening. It's something measured for vascularity, losing the overall body composition. Make sure that you have good blood circulation, you have less fat covering muscle, so you basically burn your fat, get down to caloric state, you're burning the fat, you have less calories, so you basically burn the fat, or you shed the fat, so you can basically build your metabolism, you can gradually increase your metabolism, so you can have muscle tone. You can get to a hypertonic state, muscle tone higher than normal. You can have vascularity without the fat covering the blood vessels, the blood circulation from happening, blood vessels from supplying and delivering oxygen to the body, cells and muscle tissue that it needs, or it does deteriorate. And this is really, it's major, so I wanted to cover it today. 20 minutes into this video, we got about vascularity, the truth. I want to make sure that I'm going to go back with you guys. So make sure we have more energy, more nourishment, to make sure that we have less fat levels, body composition, overall body composition, function, the process of metabolism is happening to have more vascularity, that blood circulation is really good. Occlusion isn't happening when blood vessels are cut off. There's a blockage by fat. Or it's either the good occlusion, DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, that leads to muscular growth, muscle fiber 2, recruitment, muscle fiber expansion, simple complex, as long as it can reproduce and develop and grow, given it its time that it does. You have to, your body is a very complex being. It's the most complex. I mean, we think that our minds are the most complex. Everything in the body is complex. The whole structure, the whole anatomy, the bone anatomy, the muscles of the body. It's very, very complex. I made a quote. I forgot what the quote was called. Damn it. Brian Sicker Fitness quotes. We're not getting that, guys. 21 minutes. We got Vascularity, the truth video. I want to make sure that you guys get this information across solid. Because I know. You're thinking that you have a high metabolism. And you can basically burn off the calories and fat, the empty calories. But you don't. You have a low metabolism. And you're just gaining fat. And you're like, oh yeah, my metabolism is definitely grown. When catabolism, anabolism cannot happen. When these functions can't happen, energy cannot be released. Energy cannot be created by your basal metabolic rate to make metabolites, and to grow from making little metabolites to more metabolites, aids in the growth, reproduction, and development of muscle fibers of a complex, simple to complex muscle fibers with more of a capacity, higher capacity to grow. And you can gradually increase your caloric intake to get more vascularity. Not a stunted amount of vascularity, stunted basal metabolic rate, and a stunted muscle gain, muscle tone, all these things. Not a stunted body mass index. You want to make sure that your height is crazy. What the fuck is that? Look at the fucking one bird from Jurassic World. Joking, Jurassic Park. Anyways, I hope you guys like the video. I'm going to be going inside. Check out my pizza, my pesto pizza, homemade pesto pizza. It's a good recipe. I made some, fried chicken. It's good. It's really good for your cholesterol, because when we look at polyunsaturated, I'm just going on about this. I love to talk about this stuff. When we go on about polyunsaturated fats, saturated fats that are more dense and more bad for you, more bad for your cholesterol too, because when they react, when you get the oils, vegetable oil, when you get canola, when it reacts with the heat, when it reacts with the amount of energy, it makes it even more. It turns it into. It makes it even dangerous to your cholesterol, the sodium, the fat content in it, and more chances of liver function, bad liver function, liver failure, liver cancer, obese liver, obese heart, cardiovascular diseases, when the blood vessels cannot supply and deliver oxygen to the body's cells and muscle tissue that it does need, so it can keep growing and developing. Anyways, so I'm really happy with this video, guys. I want to say thank you, guys, for staying with me for this long. It means a lot to me. Anyways, and we've been together for a long time. I'm a YouTube account. It's an amazing process. I'll never stop it. I love to do it. Just to wake up every day and to know that I have this life.